Hey, we're Raptors. I'm Simon.
I'm Matt.
And you're watching Sonic Perspectives.
Backbones breaking band. High horses rode by fickle friends.
Hey guys, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today / this evening.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us, man.
Yeah, no, I'm super keen to get into this. I've heard the first few tracks of the upcoming album, and interested is the absolute, most modest of terms that I could use to say that I am at the moment. So hey, what time is it for you guys over there?
So we are on 9 p.m.
It's 9 p.m. Okay, that's not too bad. Wow, that's really leaving the pub early.
It's
that is really,
hour.
Yeah.
Midway through happy hour.
I'm such a bad person.
You don't want to be anywhere else, man.
No, okay. I appreciate you guys. What were you drinking? What kind of night was it? Was it like a whiskey night? Was it a beers night, stout? What's going on?
We just had a couple of beers.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Getting a couple of beers.
Beers
and wings.
A chill Thursday, beers and wings. Yeah.
Beers and wings. There's a restaurant in Sydney in like DY called Wings and Tins, and that's literally all they sell.
That's
just
genius.
Just wings and tin. Yeah, but some of the beers they get pretty expensive, especially craft beer nowadays. It gets up there.
This is true. This is the problem that we have as well. Just outside our flat, we live together here, and just across the road we've got a place called the Ill Repute, and it is unreal. And a lot of our the most part of our money goes straight to those guys. So.
Yeah, it's like, oh, why are you in the band? It's like, oh, to get money. Oh, cool. What for? For the beers.
Wings and beers.
Yeah.
Ill Repute.
to give to Greg and Joe.
And look, and speaking of enjoying nice beers and stuff, and having a good time on the weekend, you both must be so excited for this weekend. Of course, you're gearing up for the Unearthed Festival, which will be headlining on Sunday.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. What's something that you've deeply missed about touring whilst the world was locked down?
Oh, we feel like alive again now. Like it's like part of us all missing. I feel like almost lucky in a way that we had so much stuff to be busy with during lockdown and through the pandemic, and even when the world is up and running, but everything's been like limited capacities. It just hasn't felt the same. Something's always been missing. We've been active, and we've been super active, but it's only now that things are feeling like real again, and it's a rush.
Awesome. And what did you kind of get up to that wasn't music related during lockdown? What did you do to kind of keep yourself sane when that wasn't an option?
I mean,
beers and wings.
That's not far from the truth, really.
Whatever, man. If it makes you happy, that's all good.
That kept us sane. Like we were really, really lucky. 3 of the Raptors guys, we all lived together. So as lockdown hit, we started writing the album. So we were really, really kind of active through the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, when things got too intense, I dread to think how many beers we went through. But it was pretty, like, we kind of treated it like working days. It was we just wrote methodically, and I mean, we probably played a lot of games,
a lot of video games,
and
we
spent a
lot of video games.
Yeah, it was a lot of games, a lot of FIFA. But there was also like a lot of like time on Zoom calls with people. Like we've got people everywhere, even with obviously same the world over. There was people within the city that we missed, and didn't see for best part of the year. So we did spend a lot of time on Zoom calls and stuff.
For better or for worse.
Yeah, that's it. They-
I had to play Quizmaster a few times, and I've never seen him so angry.
oh god,
Honestly,
yeah,
Oh,
Quizmaster over
yeah.
Zoom is the worst job.
yeah. Well, you got about 20 people, and you're trying to do like.
Trying to just ask a question.
If I'm given a task, I'm gonna go 100%. And if someone wants me to make a quiz, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. But with 20 people over Zoom, all drunk, I don't think I can hit that peak of rage before. I'm like, listen to me.
I mean, yeah, you must have had like the moderator role and just you mute everyone, just tell everyone to shut up. It's like, listen, I've taken away your privileges. I'm what is it? I'm the captain now. You know, it's like, listen to me. I'm gonna kick you all out.
This was before we'd figure out how to use Zoom.
Yeah. This was in the real early days of just carnage.
That was actually one of the questions I had. It's like, how long did it take you to be able to hop on Zoom and not go, how do you unmute this freaking thing? Like this sucks. I think everyone had that learning curve, hey?
Well,
the first time you're like, it's just like nothing. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of mimes struggling with the internet, essentially.
Yeah, it's like a whole lot of technophobes in our group, and then we're all.
But I mean, of course, you know, I think we're all relieved that we're kind of coming out of lockdown now and gigs are happening again. And you've of course played a few solid gigs as things have started to open up. You know, you did Vic Fest, Proper Dose, and you've played with Skindred, of course, which is, I mean, massive. Rock legends.
Yeah, that was such a nice. I mean, it was ripping the bandage off because it was one of the first shows back up, and it was hometown show as well. And some of the guys from Skindred also live in Bristol as well. Like, we're good friends with Dan.
Oh, cool.
And so it was like a full homecoming, and it was to the most extreme kind of homecoming ever. We were like, yeah, it's our first like show in Bristol in like a year and a half, and yeah, it's like the biggest venue here with Skindred.
It was nerve-wracking, but when we I'll remember when we walked out on stage, it was like, you know, we were first on and there was a few people already in the crowd and stuff. I was like, okay, this is okay. And then I just remember looking up like 4 or 5 songs in and go, oh, there's a lot of people.
The whole place was rammed. And that was 1,000 odd people in there. And that was the first time we'd seen that many people, let alone play in front of them. It was so good. That was like in the best way possible. It was like overwhelmingly good as well. We jumped on like the merch stand afterwards, and it was just like people just coming from nowhere, and it's like, oh my god,
that's so good. That's really good.
Best feeling ever. So yeah, that was really jumping in the deep end.
Awesome. And what's something that you've either forgotten about playing live, or something that's kind of like taken you by surprise when getting back on stage, apart from, of course, going from 0 people interaction to, oh my god, there's a crowd around me? Like, what's something kind of weird that you realize when you're on stage?
Cardio.
That's actually really good. I haven't heard that yet.
Oh mate, I've been the worst. Like, every day I'm waking up. I've got weighing scales now. I bought like a new weighing scales the other day, which I and it was literally on my birthday. I was like, I'm gonna go buy weighing scales. This is my shame, because the first show back, I was like, once adrenaline hits, I'm like, it's all in, and to the naked eye, I'd like to think it's the same show, because I'll go like 100 mile an hour for every show. Yeah. However, internally, the first show back, I was like 3 songs in, I was like, lungs. Lung capacity is a thing. It's a real thing.
Oh, it's like, damn, I can really feel those wings now. Hey.
that was literally it. I was like, damn you, Ill Repute.
Cardio. That's a good one. That's a really good one. An honest one as well. That's important.
Yeah. I'd like to put smoke and mirrors and be like, but no. It was really like, oh shit, like before, literally from pretty much the start of Raptors to the month before, the first lockdown, it was solid. It was just solid touring.
Yeah.
You kind of take for granted little things like that, because we'd be touring, but then also between every single tour, every single week, we'd be in the studio. We practically live there. We've got a permanent studio room, so we
That's cool.
we'd be there. It's so we got 24-hour access, so we can go in there and we'd be there for hours, and it would never feel like work. It would never feel like a workout.
Yeah.
But then when you
So
take
you
it
have
take
2
it
hours,
away,
2 years off.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then you go in thinking in the same mentality. Oh, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, this, and I think this we probably.
Yeah, I think
everyone gets it, but I think
share this.
we probably get the worst drums and vocals. I think they're the ones that you even if you have a few weeks off, that's where
for sure.
you can feel the difference. So
Oh.
it's been like we're back on we're doing like the Rocky montages now. So like getting ready for it.
Is it the same for you, Matt, in terms of cardio, or is there something else that you kind of found was surprising?
I 100% agree with all of what. However, I would say the thing for me was, I think, kind of a little bit sad that it became the normal not playing any live shows. Like for me, the first, I don't know, year, let's say, was really like, oh, damn, I missed live shows. And then it kind of became normal in my head. It became normal, which is sad. But then after like 1, maybe 2 back, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, no. We're back in it now. Yeah. This is what it was. Yeah.
So it's almost like a muscle memory that you kind of reignited as you got back into it. You're like,
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's really nice. And in terms of performing, of course, you guys would have been practicing, of course, in the off time, in the lockdowns. How was it translating practicing to then perform, like not only performing them, but then like playing super tight as well? Was it kind of hard to perform for the audience and also kind of remember to play as precisely as possible, or does that kind of fall into the whole muscle memory category too?
Yeah, the thing is, when we got the green light to be playing again, that's when we just jumped straight in the studio. So I think by the time we were actually playing shows, the actual playing of the songs it was there, and we were playing a lot of new stuff that we'd
kind of practiced enough to be tight, and then I don't know about everybody else, but I feel like when I play live, something kind of natural is like performance-y. Like I just kind of get into that sort of mentality, and that kind of comes out and I know that the practice has been done before and that I'm gonna be tight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's it. Because like with the performance element of it, the reason like the lung capacity was gone in the first show is because like with rehearsing, you're not really going. You don't have that adrenaline, so you're not going 100 miles an hour. Even if you're not
around.
That's the thing. I'm not going nuts in the rehearsal studio. The guys just sectioned me or something.
Yeah, but just looking weird for like an hour.
Yeah, so there's in hindsight, I probably should have just to get ready, but
a good idea in theory.
In theory.
Yeah.
In theory. And so during lockdown, of course, we saw online spending go through the roof. Did you guys end up buying any live music equipment that you kind of ended up sitting on for quite a while and you're like, I can't wait to use this live?
I think Harley did.
Harley definitely. I actually don't think I did.
Yeah, I think we were pretty screwed on. I bought like more like podcasting mic.
Oh yeah, I bought
very nice.
We had we could utilize in the lockdown times, but yeah, Howard's never deterred by a new guitar and gear. But I mean, we had to be pretty like a lot of us are self-employed, so it was I mean everyone's come out the back of it like not unscathed, but everyone was like did well about it. If we'd have got too carried away, then it could have been bad.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily we are very, very lucky in the way that the timings of lockdown and everything turned out. Sounds weird to say it, but like we had like studio time booked in. We had we were able to get shows in between lockdowns. Everything kind of fell into place in a way, and because we knew these things were kind of booked far in advance, we were like, do not go ape shit. It could easily have done it. Like all our mates did, my family did, because they were just going out of their minds. But we had to kind of keep our head on a level. We knew at least it was going to be an EP right at the start. Like we had just recorded 2 songs, and we were like, we're going to be doing something soon, so let's be careful. We just,
to be fair, we were
reasonably disciplined.
Besides like the first month or 2, we were pretty level-headed about it, I think.
Yeah, we were just like, oh my god, like the world's ended. Yeah, it's free time and the world's ended.
Yeah. No, that's a completely fair reaction to have. I think a lot of people had that reaction. But before we get to the new album, I have one more question, Matt. So you bought an Xbox. What did you sink all of your hours into? What game?
So I bought the Xbox for Forza.
Okay.
That's the only thing I always play. I ended up downloading The Witcher, and that was it.
See you later. Straight down the rabbit hole. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Nice work. I was in lockdown. I spent hundreds of hours on Doom Eternal. Like I was stuck so bad. It was like I'd literally come out and be like, I don't even know what day it is. Like it was just that bad. But I was just so like, it was like a form of comatose in a way, because you come out, you're like, I think I actually just like dreamt, but a different.
All I know is metal and brutality.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all it is. It's the best thing ever.
Best soundtrack.
Fantastic game. Yeah,
it's the best soundtrack as well. Yeah, for sure.
The soundtrack more than I played any Doom game. Just fucking unreal. 964.
Yeah, that's it. And Mick Gordon, of course, like he's now appearing on bands' tracks and all that kind of stuff. Like he really just got shot into stardom with the Doom soundtracks. That's really cool.
Cool. Yeah. It's so cool. It's such a collision of worlds, and it's funny to see it kind of catapult into this world, which is so awesome. So awesome.
That's it. That's exactly it. But with that being said, I digress. We're not here to talk about Mick. We're here to talk about you guys, of course. So let's chat about the upcoming album, Living Without Death's Permission. In a brief kind of sense, what's it all about?
So the term "Living Without Death's Permission" came from a lyric that I wrote in the opening song. So I had like a near fatal accident a couple of years back. And I was basically told at the end of it, like I shouldn't be alive. I should be dead right now. Which I mean, it's true. It was horrific, and how I got out was nothing short of a miracle. So that tied in with I'm a huge horror fan. And loved the old like Final Destination films, and
oh man,
I pictured like death as a person, and that kind of metaphor was what was birthed out of it. Really, it was just I felt like I was living on borrowed time. Have been living on borrowed time since, and it's kind of changed my outlook on everything. And so, each of the songs is kind of a different perspective of my outlook on life, really.
Wow.
And it's, in its different aspects.
Okay. And did the writing for this album begin after that? I guess after that life event, or was there already was there like a musical kind of foundation that was ready to be developed beforehand?
You know what? It was more that we were writing the songs and I don't consciously think of those things before. Really, it's usually like when I'm thinking of topics to write about. It's usually as we're writing the music, and it's what kind of naturally springs to mind. It was only after like 3 or 4 songs I really was like, oh, this is what I'm talking about. This is something that is tying all of these songs together. It definitely wasn't like a conscious thing to do beforehand. It was kind of like, we are a jam band, like we always consider ourselves kind of a live band, and it's the same with our writing. So we had a handful of ideas, and it was just as it was coming together that kind of concept came in through it all.
Nice. It's I mean, from the tracks I've heard so far, it just sounds like lyrically really heavy, but also the energy that you put through it is like sonically, the energy that you put through it is really contagious, and it's very powerful. And that's something that I kind of experienced, of course, on your 2019, on your debut EP. It's kind of like that really contagious and consistent energy that kind of just has completely traveled through in like a relentless fashion. How did you approach writing for this album that might have been different from that EP? So like, I guess music wise.
It was a very, very different process. The initial ideas, because of lockdown and being kind of torn apart from each other and taken out of our normal situation completely, we had to kind of adapt to it, because I'm glad you picked up on it, but there is this like energy chemistry of us guys. Like, I think it comes mainly from our volatile nature. It's usually from being in a room and yelling at each other and kind of it's very usually very, very direct, because it's very in the moment, like
in the moment,
like someone's going for it, let's follow that lead, let's go.
That's cool.
Which has always been good, and that's what has always felt the most natural. But when we're taken apart from each other, and we literally doing it in this format at some points, it was a video call with ideas, or we are blessed that 3 of us, and I'd say 3 kind of the main songwriters. Ian does come up with a lot of riffs as well, but the fact that we've got a guitarist, drummer, and singer in the house was an absolute blessing. We would sit here for hours and hours throwing each other ideas and still bouncing that. So there was still that, but we did have to adapt to file sharing and keep that kind of it was not natural. We've got used to it now, and weirdly we're still doing it now.
It was definitely a learning curve for sure. Like there was a few tracks on the album that we put together in the room, and then they just got drastically changed in lockdown. We got given time, and we were like, well, let's change things. Let's do stuff. Stop that up. Let's put that, and it just got we got carried away. To be fair.
Yeah, and it put everything under a microscope more so than being in a live room. So this was definitely one benefit of it. It was that everything became under a microscope. We sent it across. We could really go through it, give feedback. Whereas normally it would just be play it loud, sounds great, let's fucking go. The album became very nitpicking. We've always been perfectionists, but it was just in a different way. It was kind of perfecting. It was perfecting as we go, rather than having a whole song done in a studio and then going, actually, let's lay it down and go back over it. It was more along the way, nitpicking.
So it sounds really methodical and almost surgical, that you've really gone into that much effort. But I can imagine that could also potentially be frustrating, because of course you're used to writing as you said, like so organically, like, oh, this sounds good. What are you doing? Oh, you're doing a solo. Cool. That sounds fantastic. Let's move on. But then when you are file sharing and stuff, I can imagine you're like, does that transition nicely from the previous section? Oh, I'm not too sure. And then you just go down the rabbit hole, and then you end up having like 35 different versions of one song. And you're like, hang on, we've completely missed the point here. Let's go back to the beginning and just have some fun.
Were you watching? Were you here? That's like, hang on, what was happening?
Lost weeks into material that will never see the light of day.
Yeah, The most frustrating things would be if it was like it can be down to a singular note that would be like something's jarring. And we'd send it back and forth so many times, and frustration's not even the word. There was new levels.
We'll forget about it, and then in however many time, we get to the practice room and we start playing it. I was like, actually, it sounds really cool. Let's
yes. Yeah. And then you got that one member that's like, I fucking told you, and there's like, I'm out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's oh man, yeah, okay, that's really funny. But I'm glad that you guys are all still together. I mean, I can imagine that some people are just like, I'm gonna leave the group chat right now. I don't even care. Like, you're not listening to me. But no, that's awesome. And I think a lot of people are excited to hear that different approach to writing as well. I think it's a really special thing to be able to adapt to that kind of circumstance and then still come out of it with something that you think is really, like whether it's a step forward or even just a continuation of what you're already doing, which is already amazing. Like, I think a lot of people are keen for that.
That's it. It's having, you just have to adapt. It's like it's a human trait, and we weren't ever going to stop. So it was like, how are we going to do it? And luckily, technology.
Yeah. Well, and look, speaking of the how, Ozgrags rather, is the man behind the mixing knobs on this album. What do you love most about working with him? Because of course you went to him with the EP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He feels like the sixth member of the band. Like he even like not even musically, like
he's the man. He's the nicest dude. He's great to hang out with.
That's awesome.
Genius.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's a wizard, and you can say the weirdest things to him, and he'll just go, I absolutely understand, and then he'll elaborate on it, and you'd be like, what? I thought I was the weirdest person, but what's
weird is he understands that with every one of us.
Yeah,
like there's like two of us, like a combination of two of us in the bands that will understand what each other's saying, but Oz just understands each one of us individually in our own stupid.
Yeah,
it's baffling.
It's like another language, and he just already knew it. Yeah. So it was. It just feels really natural. He gets the best out of us as well. Like, and he also takes no shit. Like he's you kind of need that. Like you can be super friends, and this is like again like a Raptor thing. I'd like to think like we are a family, and that doesn't necessarily mean you always get on. No family is like, well, except like Brady Bunchy kind of like TV kind of. It's like real family. It's like we fight at the weddings. We fight at the and he's got that mentality as well. He's like he knows when things are friendly, and if someone is speaking out of place, like if someone else is performing, and he'll just be like, he's got the power to be like just it's always at the right time.
Yeah,
to be like, you shut up. This is then boom.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, he's just like great at what he does, and he's got a great ear for songwriting as well. So it's great.
Yeah.
Did you, Matt? You were going to say something?
I was just going to expand on the knowing where your limits are thing. Like for me, he seems to push right up to where my limit is, but know exactly when to stop. You know what I mean? It just seems every time I go to like work with him, he knows exactly how hard to push me for how long to get the right performance. And I think it's the same with Sai, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like when I've been sat in the room and doing vocal takes, he just knows exactly where that limit is.
He also knows how to push my buttons because he'll do reverse psychology.
Yeah,
he'd be like,
you won't be
able to hit this. I'll be like, is it?
Oh, I mean, this is something that I hear about him as well. I mean, because I've spoken to a couple of bands that have worked with him. He sounds like the kind of guy who is so in tune with the people that he's working with at that point.
Yeah.
And I find it such a remarkable trait for someone to not only be able to understand what the band wants sonically, but then to literally understand their mentality behind why they want the songs to sound that way.
Yeah.
So
it works like in complete equal proportions. Like you can be like an awesome producer, yes, sonically, like that's going to sound beefy, this is going to sound awesome, but it's the soul behind it, and he is in tune with people, and he really kind of wants to know what the song's about, what's the feeling beforehand, because like he just kind of gets into a certain zone, a vibe for it, and I'd like to think it speaks through the production.
He's just the man.
He's the man. We love him.
He's the man. Let's just put it that way. He's the man. But let's chat about the video and also the track. Rock Bottom. It's only a stepping stone. The video is fantastic. It's tons of fun to watch. But then the track itself is also an absolute cracker. Can you give us an idea of what that song is about, and then kind of why it earned that prized place as the title track of the I guess off the EP that kind of leads us into the forthcoming album?
So it was that this was so much fun, but it came from such an angry, dark place initially.
Awesome.
So it was. I won't name the name that kind of brought me to it, but there was a certain person, a TV celebrity, and it's just, to me, like, I have absolutely no qualms with religion. I love that, and I love that people have faith. But when money comes into that equation, it makes no sense, and it makes everything completely farcical to me. And this was a person who was preaching faith on TV, but I know that person is a multi-millionaire, and the breaking point, like, if people buy into it, then whatever, but like the breaking point was this guy was asking for donations because he was going to live on TV blow away COVID, and he's raking in. And let's face it, the people who watch those shows, they're not rich people. It's usually people who are desperately trying to reach like another level spiritually, and this guy's there lying to their face. So I was watching this unfold again during lockdown, so I had more time to dwell on it than I normally would.
Everything's amplified in that regard, for sure.
Everything, because normally it'd be like, oh, what a fucking dickhead, and then I'd move on. But like I was just I'd watched it, and then I kept like going back and finding clips like, are you for real, really? And just seeing this guy has like his own runway, he's got his own private jet and everything. And I was like, people are giving him money and he's just lying to their face. So I was like, I have to write like a little story about this. And that is what Rock Bottom is. It's about someone who has always given this and had their faith in these people, as opposed to the actual spiritual faith. They're looking to these people like they're some sort of deity, and coming to the realization of, I've literally been lied to. I've given my money away. I'm giving everything. I'm living in squalor, and which I can relate to. I've got family members who have literally done that. So it's it hit home, and it hits a raw nerve. So I was like, I got to write a story about a person who does this, kind of sees the error of their ways halfway through, and just kind of loses it. So that is in a nutshell.
There you go. And that reminds me a lot of the movie. It just came out, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Did you see that?
Oh no, I've not seen that.
Okay, I think that's up your alley when it comes to that kind of subject. It's a very, very similar synopsis of what you just described. So check it out. I think it just won the Oscar for best Best Costume, I think it was. It's got Andrew Garfield, Jessica Chastain, all those like really well-known actors, and it's fun. I think that's right up your alley if it comes to that kind of subject matter.
That's gonna get me going every time. So that's it. Yeah.
Look, so in the EP, in the 2019 EP, of course, in the Rock Bottom EP, your vocals are chaotic. Like they are so chaotic in the best sense. But I feel like as you've progressed through the latest tracks, they've become more stable in a way. Like they're still wild, but there's like this explicit evidence that your voice has developed immensely in the past 3 years. And then of course your cleans, like they're super theatrical and they're really powerful. And I find that like there's this sense of competence and real like confidence that comes through them as well. And I'm sure that that's something that you probably end up translating on stage. But the question I have is like, how long have you been seriously developing your vocals to get to that point?
A couple of weeks now. It's to be honest, it's all like, I would say it's all come from doing more and more live shows. I've always kind of like always enjoyed singing, but in terms of like I've never had any training. I've never like done anything that's that way inclined. I just have always tried to just make every vocal performance, everything on track or live, just exactly how I'm feeling at the time. It's never really been about control or anything in particular. So I think naturally it has kind of developed, but it is mainly from, I mean, once we started in 2018, it was touring relentlessly, and it did feel like there was like definitely a turning point where I could feel more control coming, just because I think I'd always write in like the wildest moments or in like my most emotional kind of state. So then recreating that time after time, it does naturally become easier. So that's always like, if anyone asks about like singing technique, I've got none to give apart from keep singing.
I think going at it from an outside perspective is that I feel like whenever Cy writes a song, or maybe like, I don't know, every time is maybe an exaggeration, but he tends to push in some way what he can do, like whether that's high pitch or whatever. There's something that seems to be getting pushed every time he writes a melody or whatever. And I think then just performing that relentlessly is like I'll do it.
I think that's safe to say. It's always like I don't know if it's my attention span or boredom or anything, but I'm always just like, I do want to make things harder for myself. I'm always trying to have a challenge. It's kind of what I try to do in every aspect of everything, really. It's like, if I want to do a piece of art, I'm going to make the next one more epic than the last one. And I do feel that with songwriting. It is, what did I love about that one? Can I better it? And I think that does help.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's evident. I mean, just from hearing the latest tracks to, as I said, like to the debut stuff, there's this really cool, like you've got your sound, like you've got that signature sound, but then you've just like turned it all the way up. You know, you've I don't know what to say, like you've mastered it in a way. And I think it's just super exciting, because that just shows people that, you know, there's just this constant like up and up that's happening. And I think a lot of people are kind of keen to hear more, to be honest. But Matt, is it the same for you in terms of your development? Have you learned like new not techniques, so to speak, but maybe like new personalities through your time drumming? And then have your intentions in the way that you want to contribute to tracks from Raptors, have those intentions changed at all over time?
Yes, and yes, to be sure. I don't know about learning new techniques and stuff, but I definitely, there's been a few people recently that I've been kind of inspired by that do some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I definitely try and bring new stuff into the Raptor stuff. Sometimes I get told to kind of tone it down a little bit.
Horrible.
Oh, it's
Horrible.
not from me. Not from me. I'm
Nice. Absolve yourself now while you're on camera. Yeah.
but
Yeah, I probably don't mind admitting that I had a little bit of an identity crisis recording like the second half of the album, trying to be like, what's my what's my thing, what's my personality as a drummer, and I don't know if I found that or not with whatever, but there's definitely, I don't know, new drummers emerging to like a big scale that I just kind of pick up on and go, what he's doing is kind of cool. I'll take a little bit of that. What he's doing is kind of cool. I'll take a bit of that as well. And I don't know. That's kind of all I really do. To be fair, I'm just gonna pinch that little bit of this and a little bit, and yeah,
just a bit of sampling here and there.
A bit faster.
But saying that, like, there's a song on the album that came literally from your you started that song, and we were all like, sick, let's move around that.
True.
Yeah, sometimes it's like I think if we let him off the leash, we never have any time to think the same for more beats at a time, which is it's fun. It's fun, but it's like it's choosing. This was the part where it was the battling during lockdown and stuff. It's like, okay, we've got that 7/8 beat.
Let's change the time
3/4.
Oh no.
There's a lot, and yeah, I'd like to think there's bits in there in the album because we're like, okay, we'll do it. We'll let them have his thing,
sure,
but it's only in this section of this stuff.
Yep. So a bit of a sick of Rex moment.
Like the wonky. It's like a weird
That's
it's a little bit of a pat on the head. There you go. Now we'll carry on.
That's really funny, but that's really exciting too. I mean, that's again, like that's just something that's gonna, I think, kind of translate to the listeners like a really dynamic approach, and also that you guys are really being consciously, specific about the way that you're writing it. So yeah, that's awesome. And look, I know that you guys have to go, so I just wanted to ask you one more question. What do you want listeners to understand or be excited about when it comes to this new album that's obviously rapidly approaching the release date?
I would like to think that people can listen to it, and I hope it's gonna like break down some like boundaries of genre. And I think we are avid music fans, and I hope people can like kind of experience that, and regardless of genre, kind of find their love in it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I really want people to kind of resonate with it. Like the songs on the album that resonate with me for an entirely different meaning than what obviously I know what Si's written about. Mm-hmm. That means something entirely different to me than they do to Si. So I hope people find some sort of meaning and some sort of feeling in them.
I hope people find their favorite new band, to be honest.
Same.
Me too. just quietly. When and where can everyone get the next album, Living Without Death's Permission?
So debut album is coming out on the 24th of June. It's going to be going out worldwide via Metal Blade Records and Blacklight Media.
Exactly. So do not miss it. Thank you so much, guys, for taking the time to chat with me. Yeah, good luck with everything live. And yeah, I'll be watching the release day. I'll be waiting for it.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, man. Thanks for having the chat, dude.
It's been a pleasure.
Same.